Hello everybody, welcome back. This is the Benchinator. You're watching Let's Play Xenogears, the greatest JRPG on Earth. So the last time we've been exploring the Anima Relic dungeon, where we came across a few interesting little tricks and puzzles and so forth. Well, so far nothing really that challenging, just a couple of locked doors and switches, but seems that we are going to be facing a puzzle just up ahead, which hopefully will unlock the Anima Relic. So, let's get to that. Alright, here we go. Here we go. So now we've unlocked the central elevator, which means now we're going to go down. And we're going to see exactly what this place has in store. Now remember, last time I actually mentioned that there was a nifty little what was it? Little Sudoku puzzle, and you're going to be seeing how that works in just a minute. So, that's this code. These are 4 addresses, C, A, and B. And the thing is that there's only 4 digits that you can actually use. I believe the numbers are 5, 4, 8, and 2. And this will make a little bit more sense once we talk to this thing. So, the current code condition, there's the little cross right there. So basically what you have to do is you have to make that column and that row add up to the same number. It's just a sum game. But the only ones that you can actually change are the ones on the ends. So, yeah, right now, in the columns, there's 0 and 0 because we haven't activated them. But in the row, you want 8 and 2, and in the column, you want 5 and 4. And so 5, 4, 8, and 2, like I said, those are the only numbers that you can really mess with. I'm going to show you in just a little bit what happens when you try one of the other numbers. So, all the numbers are in place, but if you try 1, for example, it says it's locked. It's not going to work. And I believe it's the same thing with 7. So it's a really easy puzzle. You're basically just... You're taking those 4 digits and you're figuring out where to put them, and you can't do repeat numbers. So, just because of the limited amount of conditions that there are, see? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The first time I did this puzzle, it took me a little bit while longer to figure it out, but you couldn't really see it, but Faye was laughing once again. I do kind of like how he laughs whenever there's a puzzle going on. Probably because that one was actually pretty easy. So now we get to go down. Yeah, there we go. Post-game footage it's an interesting experience so far. I'm enjoying it, but sometimes I kind of do things. I'm delaying at points where I'm not exactly sure why that's the case, but anyway, we're going to be going down and we're going to be checking out where this Anima Relic is. Isn't that exciting? So I actually kind of like this part. The little hallway that leads to it is pretty cool. And you know that we're almost there because the music's not playing anymore. Although, you know, it's funny, this Xenogears, musically, it's fantastic because it has a great soundtrack overall, and it very kind of tactfully uses the lack of music pretty well. Like, there's just a lot of moments where you don't have any music going on, and I think that actually works. That works out fairly nicely. I mean, sometimes it seems a little bit out of place, but for the most part, I think it does fairly well. Oh, look at that! Look at that thing. That is gorgeous. Oh, look, Ellie and Billy showed up. It's a little bit funny. I guess they wanted to see this for themselves, huh? Well, oh, looks like. Hey, Billy. That relic is talking to you. I think I know what that means. I think I know what that means. Even Faye's like, what? What does this thing want with Billy? What is so special about Billy? Nothing against Billy. I think Billy's awesome. But you know, he just it's a little bit surprising. Yeah. There you go, Billy. There you go, my good friend. Yeah. Maybe your gear has changed. See, I like Faye. He's resourceful. He knows that something probably did happen that's different. So let's walk out to our gear and check it out. And oh, what is this? It's you four. You've come back. Faye's like, you again. The elements. Yeah, if I recall, there's a couple of Final Fantasy games, I think the fourth one, where you actually have the elements. You have the Magus Sisters, and they kind of represent each element, but it's a fairly common trope in most JRPGs, I would say. It's the use of elements. But apparently these women are still, they're fighting on behalf of Ramsus. Even though that guy is even though that guy's just a mental wreck. Yeah, as Faye just mentioned, seems a little bit weird that in spite of all the craziness going on, these elements are still kind of like playing the role of Sky Nazis. Oh, well yeah, we haven't mutated yet, but that's could just be a coincidence. I mean, I like to think that we are pretty strong, but you know, this virus seems pretty powerful and could affect any of us at any time, so it's best not to get overly cocky. So this is kind of a clash of ideals. Basically, the elements are saying, "Oh, screw the weaklings. If you get stepped on, you get stepped on." Seraphita. Is that really what's best for mankind? Yeah, that's true. They were all under. They were all a bunch of third-class citizens at one point. I mean, they got out of it, but still, doesn't mean that you should, you know, step on the weak people, especially given the current situation in this world. It's a real crisis. It's a real crisis. Yeah. It's interesting, though. Like, they're kind of like the ultimate meritocrats. Like, you know, people that live in a meritocracy. They kind of just believe that, like, you know, based on your abilities and your smarts, you should get all the praise. And if you're not smart, or if you're not incredibly abled, if you don't have a ton of talents, then you should just suffer. So here we are. We got the battle with the four elements. So we fought Talon and we fought Seraphita before. We never fought Dominia or Calvina on the ground. Now the thing about this battle is that you want to attack Calvina like I'm doing right here first. But unfortunately, you don't want to use this death blow, as cool as it looks, because she's going to eat that right up, as you'll see. She just kind of... The elemental death blows are not the best thing to do. And you are going to lose a lot of EP thanks to Seraphita, but if you just use, yeah, like the double X techniques like I'm using with Bart right here, you should be in good shape. For the most part, it's something you don't have to worry about. This is not a particularly tough battle. The key will be, of course, to, yeah, take out Calvina, because as you saw right there, she does have that healing ability. And Talon probably is your biggest damage dealer for the first part of the game, at least. The first part of the battle. It switches later on, because I've always, for some reason, left Dominia as the last person alive, and this is no exception. And once Dominia is the only one left on the field, she has some really powerful attacks. They're pretty nasty, as you'll see a little bit later on. But basically what I'm doing is, yeah, I'm just using Coho. Coho's always a very trusty ability to use. And then Dominia's just going to keep kind of doing this for a while, these like little sword attacks. They only do about 42 damage, 50 damage. But like I said, that definitely changes a little bit later on. One thing that does kind of suck, though, is that for some reason, your single X attacks, like, you know, the ones that come before the death blows, I've kind of noticed this, like, now looking back, is that they tend to miss a lot. This attack is, I think, kind of cool, this little fire ring thing. But, it does, yeah, that does a decent amount of damage, so Seraphita is no slouch. But yeah, Calvina is a real pain in the ass, because she keeps doing that. Woo! And the diving attack, that also kind of sucks. I mean, I like this battle just because you get to see a lot of variety. Like, it's kind of interesting because, like, the elements are... they're people that you fight against a lot, but they're not really that villainous. Like, even Dominia seems a little bit like, you know, kind of, I wouldn't say reluctant to fight you necessarily, but she's not exactly super jazzed about it, so to speak. Alright, now I'm going to be demonstrating a panel phasal. I kind of hesitated for a moment, but I decided to use it anyway. And yeah, it's basically a Mega Elixir. And the reason why I use that is just because you're at a point in this game where there's not going to be a whole lot of, like, ground dungeons left. And I actually believe that this is the last one where you do that purely. There's another dungeon that's coming up where you do have... Oh, stomping on Rico. Fortunately, it didn't do much. Because I believe that there actually is the next dungeon that you're going to be doing. You kind of switch briefly between being in gears and being on the ground. So if you want to use some of your, like, big name items or what have you in this boss battle, feel free, because I mean you're at the point in the game where it's not really gonna matter too much. Is that you're looking at a lot of gear battles from this point on out. I mean, it's actually funny. It's that whenever I played this second disc, it always seems like it takes up a huge chunk of the game, but honestly, folks, we're pretty close to the end. Like, we're getting to the point in the game where it's almost over. I mean, there's still a good chunk left. Ooh, got Calvina right there. But yeah, we're at the point where this is just a very, very, very long conclusion to the game, and there's a lot of stuff that happens between now and the end. And you know, just after going through all the footage I played of this game up until the finale, definitely kind of seems that way. All right, so I just skipped ahead right here. So this is going to be Dominia's big attack. It shows you the damage first, so there's not like additional damage after that. But that's all you have to really worry about when Dominia's kind of by herself, is that little, like, annoying-ass sword attack. But yeah, we're getting pretty close. If you've made it this far in the game, you know, feel good about yourself, viewers, because, as you can tell, this is not a short game, and, it's very involved. There's a lot of text, so, but the story's just amazing, and always will continue to be that way. Alright, now Rico Banderas is gonna finish her off. Watch this. Boom, boom! Yep, with a little, 2 dash punches and a little flick in the face. Dominia goes down. And we got Land Break, which is the, ooh, and all those drives you can use, those buffs, those stat boosters. But yeah, Land Bracer is the Earth attack for Bart. Oh man, we're gonna be fighting in the gears. It's gonna be pretty intense. I actually really like this battle, that you go up against the elements next. Yeah, we just get in those gears. We're gonna hop on in. Yeah, I realize, viewers, that right now we don't exactly have Billy in our party, even though he just got himself a new Omni gear. But worry not, in the next dungeon we will be seeing the use of Billy. I made sure of that. So now, for all of you folks that grew up watching the Power Rangers, you're gonna get a nice little bit of nostalgia right about now. It's gonna feel like the Megazord is gonna be being summoned right now. Pterodactyl. Oh yeah. Yeah. If it couldn't be more obvious. There's Saber-Tooth Tiger right there. It's the Yellow Ranger's Zord and so forth. Oh man. This is so, like, the first time I saw this, I remember, it was probably in, like, 2002, 2003. That was around the first time I actually beat this game. And I saw this, and I was just like, I think I was with my friend at the moment, and we were just like, did they really just do that? Did they just really do a complete Power Rangers ripoff? I mean, I realized that Power Rangers, of course, was, like, the original version was made in Japan, so... Like, I'm sure that, you know, that the distance between this, a JRPG, and a show like Power Rangers probably isn't that vast. And I'm sure there's a lot of connections. People copy each other all the time, but I mean, this is a little bit obvious to me, especially with all the emphasis on it. Man, this is taking a while. I do like how they're playing like the happy music though, like the like Maria's theme, the Saibzane theme, just to show you that the elements are not really that bad of a crew. They might be your enemies at the moment, but they're not really your enemies, you know? That's the kind of always got the impression with them. They're certainly not on the same level as, like, the Gazel Ministry, or, Krellian, or all those other people. Even Shakan. Shakan, the scrubbalicious, incompetent monk. That guy. So anyway, this is going to be the battle against the elements. Hooray! So yeah, this is kind of an interesting battle in the sense that even though this is just technically one enemy, and even though technically the elements are combined, they kind of switch who's at the helm. And you'll see this is that you'll have, like, you know, Kelvina or Seraphita be like, I'll take care of him, and then it kind of switches, like, they start doing attacks based on their element. So this is where System Id, of course, becomes incredibly useful. We're going to get to really kind of see its power. And I used boosters. They're not super necessary, but they'll definitely help you out in a pinch. And this is one of those battles where I don't even though there's not like a big time constraint, I do kind of feel like it definitely is better to get those attacks in as fast as possible. So here's what I'm talking about. Now Talon is taking charge, which means that now all the attacks are going to be wind-based. But yeah, here's kind of the interesting thing, is that the System Id puts you automatically into Hyper Mode with the Weltall 2, right? And if you get to level 3 attack power with any of the other Omni Gears, there's always a chance that you will go into Hyper Mode. And that's usually somewhere between 10 and 20%. Like right now, you didn't really see that very clearly, but right now it's at 5% for Bart. And by the time you get to level 3, then it goes up to like 10 or 15. So at that point, what you can actually do is that if you're in an Omni Gear and you're at level 3 attack, you can just kind of keep guarding. You can keep hitting charge until you basically get into Hyper Mode. And then you have 3 turns of Hyper Mode, and you do a ton of damage. I don't think I do that in this battle, but in future battles you'll definitely see Hyper Mode with Bart, with Citan, and a couple of the other characters too. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I'm not going to be showing the Hyper Mode techniques with all the characters, but you'll see them with quite a few, at least 3 or 4. So yeah, kick in the face, kick in the face, kick in the face. One thing that you will be seeing later on, and I mentioned this in a previous video, is all the death blows for all characters except for 2. So, and then the other 2 characters at some point in in a future bonus video or something, I'll make sure to show those as well. Oh man, Twister D didn't work. Okay, so maybe I am going for Hyper Mode, or maybe I'm just using Twin Snake. There we go. Oh, that hurt a lot. I guess I didn't go for, what is it, Hyper Mode this time. That's okay, though. That's okay. There's going to be plenty of time for that in the future. Woo! So, Thorwave and Flaming Hell, I just noticed that. They're not really worth it. It's kind of like, you know, just the Jessie Cannon and the, whatever Maria's attacks is, and the Yggdrasil, depth charges. These are all like sort of like ether-based attacks that aren't really worth it in my opinion. Apparently there are ways you can equip certain accessories that allow you to make ether attacks with your gear more effective. But the fact of the matter is that your regular attacks in Hyper Mode, and even your charged up attacks, your level 2, level 3s and stuff like that, just do a lot more damage against your enemy. And even though they do use up fuel, it's not really, you know, it's definitely worth. It's definitely you know, the cost benefit is definitely worth it. You use up fuel to do these attacks, and you know they make a huge dent. It's kind of how the game is supposed to work. Like, if you do want to use ether attacks, that's absolutely fine. And I have used a few, especially with Ellie in the past. But ether, for the most part, in this entire game, I've never really used it a whole lot. Like, it's never really been something that I have embraced and used often. And I'm pretty sure that there are some people out there, some Let's Players, that will just, you know, have some exact formula where they will talk about how, in certain battles, using ether is definitely more beneficial. And certainly against the elements, especially when, on the attack on the Tams, for example, when you're just fighting Dominia, when you're trying to cancel out, like, her, you know, elemental swords and so forth, that's when that can be really useful. But, I mean, from now until the end of the game, I can't ever remember using an ether attack, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, folks. Just rely on Hyper Mode. Hyper Mode is your friend. Level 3 attacks are your friends. And I think you'll be absolutely fine. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just slowly but surely taking out the elements, and now we're going to be using... Oh. So I guess I did hold back on that one. So Kishin Sword, most powerful attack, used by the elements right here. But yeah, with Bart, what I just did is that you might be wondering, oh, why didn't you attack with that level 3 attack and use Twin Stick? Well, I'm waiting for Hyper Mode, basically. So, this battle ends before I get to use Hyper Mode, but that's okay. We'll get to see it in future episodes, my friends. Woo! And that sword, you get to keep that sword, as you'll see. So we get tons of EXP. Faye's got another level up. And the Kishin Sword. And 30,000 gold. Not bad. So the elements, not really too hard of a battle. Just kind of fun. Enjoyable. Not too much of a headache. So I approve. I wholeheartedly approve. Oh, now it's playing the sad music. Oh. Here's Ellie summoning Sophia once again. Doing her Mother Teresa thing. Basically saying, hey man, sometimes the weak are okay. Being all emphasizing strength and racial purity and raw talent, it's nice and all, but oh. Dominion's like, huh, you're trying to let us off the hook? I'm not sure if your goals are quite the same. It kind of seems like, especially if the elements are fighting for Ramsus, that's a bit of a different thing. Ah, well. Sure showed us. I also like how the little robot dude is just kind of hanging out there. He's just sitting there watching the whole thing. It's just kind of like, whatever. Well, anyway, folks, that's the episode. So we encounter the elements. We got ourselves another Omni gear for our friend Billy, which we'll be seeing in future episodes. But yes, this is the Benchinator with Let's Play Xenogears, and I will see you guys in the next episode.